This meeting is called to order. This work session, regular meeting of the Township Council is called to order in accordance with Section 5, the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, be advised that adequate notice of this work session, regular meeting of the Township Council of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, was made by the posting on a bulletin board at the municipal complex and transmitted to the officially designated newspapers. A list of dates annually indicating that this work session regular meeting would take place at the Franklin Township Municipal Complex at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, December 12, 2017. In addition, a copy of this notice is and has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the municipal clerk. If we could all stand and for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by an invocation by Councilman Rosalind Sherman.
Already I'm forgotten? Spit it out. Didn't take long. God.
I will botch your name as many times as I can tonight.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
As we gather here today as members of the Township Council, we pray that we are ever mindful of opportunities to render our service to fellow citizens and to our community, keeping in mind always the enduring value of life, exerting our efforts in those areas on those things upon which future generations can build with confidence. Let us continue to strive to make a better world.
Madam Master Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Chase.
Here.
Councilwoman Francois.
Here.
Mayor Kramer.
Here.
Councilman Onijaka.
Here.
Councilman Prasad.
Here.
Councilwoman Robinson. Councilwoman Sherman.
Here.
Councilman Vasanella.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Wright.
Thank you. Well, we have 5 proclamations, commendations. The first is the 2017 National Impaired Driving Prevention Month. And that's Councilman Vasanella, and if you could go up, and yes, I believe Alice Osipowicz will be coming up. Before you start, Councilman, you know, we have chairs here. You're allowed to sit down.
Whereas no person should suffer the tragedy of losing someone as a result of drunk, drugged, or distracted driving, but for far too long the danger of impaired driving has robbed people of the comfort of knowing that when they or a loved one leaves home, they will return safely. And whereas during National Impaired Driving Prevention Month, we recommit to preventing these incidents by acting responsibly and by promoting responsible behavior in those around us, and together we can enhance public safety and work to ensure a happy, healthy life for all of our people. And whereas during the holidays, a season that includes a spike in travel and celebrations that may include alcohol, and throughout the year we must remain vigilant and aware of drivers that are distracted or under the influence of drugs or alcohol. And whereas our national, state, and local law enforcement agencies are working tirelessly to prevent and respond to impaired driving with the Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over campaign, occurring from December 15, 2017 through December 31, 2017, that seeks to raise awareness of the dangers associated with drunk and drug driving and aims to prevent as many of these tragedies from occurring as possible. And whereas as we gather with friends and loved ones this month, we encourage all residents to enjoy their time together responsibly, and remember it is important to the health and safety of all of us to plan ahead by designating a non-drinking driver, staying in place if impaired, and arranging for alternative means of transportation. And whereas during National Impaired Driving Prevention Month, let us pledge to always drive sober and alert and to avoid distractions behind the wheel, and together we can help to ensure all our people are able to enjoy the holiday spirit and make memories with those they care about while safeguarding the well-being of everyone on the road. Now therefore, on behalf of Philip Kramer, Mayor, I hereby proclaim December 2017 as National Impaired Driving Prevention Month and urge all residents to make responsible decisions and take appropriate measures to prevent impaired driving.
My name is Alice Osipowitz, and I'm here representing the Municipal Alliance for the Prevention of Substance Abuse. I'm very happy to see the police department here tonight, and that there are also another proclamation about their Drive Sober, Get Pulled Over campaign, which the Municipal Alliance, in our partnership with agencies in the community, we're all trying to put out a united message about the dangers of drinking and driving and substance abuse prevention. So we'd really like to remind residents that, especially during the holidays, that while you may consider, you may not be considered legally drunk with a blood alcohol level under 0.08, any consumption of alcohol can impair your judgment, your reaction times, and make it unsafe for you to drive. The transition from, if you think about it, from 0.07 to 0.08 is really not discernible. And that's why buzz driving is just as dangerous as drunk driving. Therefore, we encourage you to designate a sober driver or to be that designated driver for your friends and families as you celebrate the holidays. So thank you very much. Keep this in mind and have a safe holiday for yourselves and the people that are on the roads with you. Thank you.
And now Councilwoman Francois will present the proclamation about the drive sober or get pulled over. We have plenty of officers here to do that tonight. So we normally don't do this. We don't show the audience. But if the videographer could show the audience, it's actually quite a spectacular thing to see.
Okay, this is in accordance to what Alice Osipowitz was talking about. This proclamation says drive sober or get pulled over. 2017 year-end holiday crackdown. Whereas impaired drivers on our nation's road killed 10,497 drivers in 2016. Whereas 20% of motor vehicle fatalities in New Jersey are alcohol related. Whereas the season at the end of the year is traditionally a time of social gatherings, which often include alcohol, and we all know that. Whereas the state of New Jersey Division of Highway Traffic Safety has asked law enforcement agencies throughout the state to participate in Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over for our year-end holiday crackdown. And whereas the project will involve increased impaired driving enforcement from December 8th through January 1st, 2018. And whereas an increase in impaired driving enforcement and a reduction in impaired driving will save lives on our roadways. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Township of Franklin declares its support for the Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over 2017 year-end holiday crackdown from December 8th, 2017 through January 1st, 2018, and pledges to increase awareness of the dangers of drinking and driving. Okay. Want to come up and say something else about driving? Drive sober and get pulled over? That's your program, right?
Again, thank you very much. And I'll just reiterate again, enjoy the holidays, be mindful about your drinking habits, and make sure that you have a designated driver. Thank you.
So the next item is an item that I'm actually not all that happy about, but it's a mixed, it's bittersweet, and I would like to call Chief Larry Roberts to the podium. And is there anyone else you wish to accompany you at this time? So, for those of you who don't know, I know everyone in this room does, but maybe everyone in the public doesn't know, Chief Roberts has put in his papers so that he will be retiring on December 31st of this year. That is quite bittersweet to me, because certainly he deserves a retirement, but we have done so well under him that great regret accept his retirement. We have a plaque here for him. Go for the first time about 30 seconds ago. In recognition and sincere appreciation of your dedicated service to the Township of Franklin, presented to the Police Chief Larry Roberts, December 10th, 1987 to December 31st, 2017. Congratulations on your retirement. Thank you for your 30 years of service by the council, by the Township Council, manager, staff, and residents of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, New Jersey. Why don't you go ahead and go first? Here's the plaque. See, I am not well prepared to do this. Let's stand that over here.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. As most of you know, I'm usually not lost for words, but I am. This is something that I think when you give 30 years of your life to something, it really impacts you. And I came here as a young kid, and I'm leaving actually with no hair and as an old man. But it's been great. It's been a lifelong dream of mine. I've gotten to serve the residents of this great town over 30 years. I've met a lot of wonderful people, and it's just, it's been a joy. And I want to start with, first of all, the men and women of the police department. I don't know how I could say thank you. Having the honor of leading you over the last 7.5 years has been a dream of mine, and it's been a great run. You're all, each and every one of you, male, female, professional. You have the utmost integrity. You go out there every day. You do what we ask you to do, and you serve the citizens with nothing but professionalism. Every chief, you have your ups and you have your downs, and one of the things I like to do is I am one of the people that watch these meetings, because you like to. I don't know what the I don't know what the ratings are, but I do watch these meetings, and no, but and there's a reason I watch them, and that's, as the chief, you want to see what your residents think. And I guess the best thank you we could get is, in all the times I was chief, no one ever came up to the mic and complained about the police department. They came up and people would have praise for us every, now and then they would come up and say what the police helped them out. And that means something, because that means we're doing our job. And that means we're doing what we're supposed to do. We're serving the people with honor and integrity. And I want to thank each and every one of you from the bottom of my heart. I couldn't have picked a better crew of men and women to serve with and to work with. You were all phenomenal. And again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for everything. When I walk out of there on the 31st, it is going to be bittersweet, because all you do a phenomenal job. And it's not only the sworn officers that we have, it's the civilian staff too, the dispatchers, the civilians that go in there each and every day and get the job done. And I want to thank them for all their service. And of course, there's one person I want to especially thank, and she's here, and that's my confidential aide, Judy, because she's the one that had to put up with me every day. Now, I want to think I'm the best guy to deal with, but I'm sure she'll tell you different. Now, she, without the joking, Judy ran the office for me, and the one thing that I want to thank you for, Judy, is the way you dealt with the citizens of this town, because I know a lot of times I'd be standing out there, in my office or sitting in my office, and I'd hear a call come through from dispatch, and it would be somebody, and, you know, when they usually call the police, it's not to ask me how I'm doing. There's usually a complaint. And a lot of the times, people just want to be heard. And this woman would hear what they have to say. Sometimes 40 minutes later, I'd walk out there and go, who are you talking to, the president? Like, you know, what's going on here? But she would just give him the time. So, Judy, thank you for all your dedication to the citizens of this town and to my office. It doesn't go unnoticed. To the PBA, I know we have a bunch. Pat's here tonight. Pat Colligan, Jimmy Holzheimer, Mark Rossman, Kenny Daly, and all the PBA past presidents I dealt with. Thank you guys for everything. First of all, I'll start with Pat. Pat, I know you're here somewhere because I saw you. I'm proud of you, buddy. I think to have an officer or a detective in our department and a delegate that's elected the state PBA president means something. And it means something for the department, it means something for the town, and it's something for the residents to be proud of. You're doing a good job. Keep it up, and we are very, very proud of you that you made it to the top coming out of Franklin. We really are. Thank you for all your dedication to it. Jimmy, Mark, and Kenny, as Mark likes to say, we didn't always get along. There were some, Judy witnessed them. There were some screaming matches because, you know, management's got to be management. The union's got to be union, and we have to, as my man Pastor Soares likes to say, we have to fall somewhere in the middle. But we were always able, like gentlemen, like complete gentlemen, to work things out. There was always a mutual respect, and I thank you guys for that. You were awesome, and I want to thank Thursday night. They gave me a beautiful plaque, and they gave me a standing ovation, and we must have got along somewhere, because to do that for a chief, it was humbling, and I thank each and every one of you for what you guys did, and it was a pleasure. It really was working with you guys to get the stuff of the union done. Thank you. There's a saying in life, you never know who's going to be your boss. Bob, thank you for everything, buddy. It's been a good run. When I was cleaning out my office today, I saw the article of me and you in Parkside back in 1991, working with them when they were on the street corner, and it was humbling looking at that picture. I'm actually, Bob, I'm proud of you too. You know, you were given an opportunity. You took the bull by the horns. You're doing a great job for the citizens of the town and for your governing body. And for me as a friend of yours, it's honoring to see that. And, you know, keep it up, and I appreciate everything, buddy.
And I appreciate you, too.
You really were. To my governing body, thank you for everything, and I mean that. It's been a great ride. It's been an honor, and I couldn't have asked for a better relationship. I had the honor of serving on the state chief's executive board for 4 years, and it gave me the opportunity to travel all over the state and see different councils and different governments and different cities and town. And I got to say, we are squared away here. That's the best word I could use, squared away, because the fighting that goes on and the arguments, and I think at the end of the day, the only ones that lose are the citizens. And we have a great relationship. I know there are times, I'm sure some of you roll your eyebrows and want to question me, why am I asking for this and why am I asking for that? But you know what, at the end, all he always said yes. And I would go back to the men and women of the department and tell them that we're blessed to have a governing body that supports us. Some of you I've had the honor of working with for a very long time. I want to say to Councilwoman Francois, it's been over 25 years, and it's been a privilege. And I know personally what you do for the kids behind the scenes. And, you know, some of the times you would ask the officers to help out, and they were always willing to do it. And it means a lot that there's people in the community that are willing to help out. So I want to personally thank you, because I know it's been 25 years. To all the rest of you, Ms. Sherman, I know it's your last go-round. Good luck to you. You've been a pleasure to deal with, and I appreciate everything. Councilman Andrejako, I know you're starting out. You should be proud of yourself, though, being from Sierra Leone, coming here and doing your thing and getting elected to council. I know you make the people proud. Let's keep it up. Councilman Vassanelli, you've been around a while. Same thing to you. You were always very, very supportive of the police department, and I appreciate it. I'm even going to thank Mr. Renaud, because we actually got along great. I wish I could have made you more money, so I wouldn't have that many problems. But, I mean, it's been a pleasure, Lou. You've been great. You're always there for us. I know you would have to deal with Greg all the time, answering the questions, and we appreciate your professionalism. Councilman Wright, same with you. Always interesting when I get a phone call from you, because it's always an interesting phone call. I appreciate it. Councilman Chase, same thing. Thank you for everything. It's been a great run. Councilwoman Robertson, I knew you long before you were on council. I even made a joke. I said to her, "You're going to be on council one day." Did I not? At First Baptist Church. But I want to wish you the best of luck. You've always been there for people in the community, and it doesn't go unnoticed. And keep it up. Councilman Prasad, same thing. It's been a long run. We've been with each other a long time. Thank you for everything. So from the bottom of my heart, you made my job easy by really always saying yes. And then I'll thank the mayor. I really secretly think the mayor wants to be a police officer. He's a good man. I know he tries hard, and I know now that I'll be a citizen that this town, thank all of you. And I know that whoever my successor is, you all will do your best to work with that individual hand in hand, and I know that the business of a town will go on. So thank you very much. Now, last but not least, the citizens of this town. You're the most important ones. I think the reason why we're here, to serve and to protect you every day, to make sure that Franklin is the safest town it can be, to make sure that the kids know that they always have a helping hand, and to just basically be there as a soundbox for people in need. Most people, I always said, don't dial 911 to wish you happy birthday. They dial 911 because there's a problem, and I couldn't have asked for better citizens to work with than in this township. And it started years ago. I remember Bob Vornlocker was there. We got assigned on the MPT to go to Parkside. And it's when they were doing the vigil, and they had the fire at the end of Parkside and Mark. And I said to Bob, I remember being out there one day, and Bob was our sergeant. I go, why are they out there? What's the meeting? And I was young. I didn't know then. And Bob looked at me, and, we talked. And then Bob says, well, we're going to find out tomorrow because we have a meeting with Pastor Soares. And that was my first introduction to a long friendship with a man I respect a lot. And we went to the meeting with Pastor Soares, and he said, some people just want a better life. And you guys and girls that go out there and serve the public are a big part of it. It's not just about enforcing laws, whether it's traffic or criminal laws. It's about giving a helping hand and making the community better. And that's what I think this job was really all about for me. Giving a helping hand and making the community better. And as I moved up, a lot of the people that were out there, Mr. Wade, are no longer with us. I wish they could see how far this town's really come. Because I know that 30-plus years I've been here, it's made strides. And the police department's made strides. And the relationship that's been formed between these men and women and the citizens of this town is phenomenal. Every chief would love to have a relationship like we have with our citizens. So to all the citizens of this town that made my job easy, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. It's been a great run and an honor to serve as your chief of police. Thank you.
Many people in town don't realize that the president of the state PBA is from Franklin. He's an officer from Franklin, which is quite an honor for Franklin. And I think it speaks highly for the chief that he brings up people, he trains people that can rise to that position. Mr. Colligan, would you please come up and say a word?
Thank you, Mayor. I wasn't expecting, but I've never turned down a microphone. So it really has been, it was training here in Franklin that we had a relationship with the council, certainly relationship with the chief. And as Larry said, it wasn't always smiles. Contract negotiations over the years really taught me a lot. And I would not be in this position if not only the council letting me go to the state PBA, but the blessings of the chief and the training I had here in Franklin. So representing 33,000 members is daunting. I first got there, and it's really just a big local. It's just one big local, like the men and women of Franklin Township. So I'm honored to be there, honored to serve the members of the state PBA, and I would not be able to go if the town wouldn't let me. So, and I know you're making a little money on it, Mayor, too, so that doesn't make you unhappy. But thank you for the town, But I deal with 365 locals in every single county, and I've always said when I went to the delegate meetings and met these officers from around the state that there are some disasters out there. There are some towns that just don't know how to get along with their agency, and morale plummets, and you know, it says a lot for Franklin Township that I used to go there and come back and tell the stories to Chief Roberts and let him know how good we have it here. So appreciate it, and again, thanks for the opportunity to serve.
So I guess it's incumbent on me to say a few words, and I will keep them relatively short. The best part of having Larry Roberts as your chief of police is you never have to worry. Some towns' biggest problem is their police force. This council never had to worry about that. We had an incredibly well-trained police force, an incredibly professional police force. Every time, and for people who are just joining, this room is filled with police officers. We know that when you go out there, you're professional, and that's a credit to this man. And that takes an enormous burden off of council when we don't have to worry about our police force. So thank you for the nights of sleep that I got because you were on the job, and maybe you weren't sleeping that night because you were taking care of business. It has been an honor to serve with you, and it is with great regret that I say goodbye to you, at least on a professional basis. Councilwoman Sherman, if you could come up for the Franklin Day Festival presentation.
Yeah, I want the group shot.
You're being called up for a second ovation. The councilman is requesting a group shot with all of council. Down here. Or should we do, why don't we could all stand in front of the seal? How about that?
Group shot.
Go in the middle right here.
Mayor for the day. Wait a second.
You standing in front of Kimberly?
Let me stand by the side, all right?
Show people up front.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you. Again, thank you again. Long run, it's sad.
Group shot, baby. Group shot, baby.
I don't know. Here. Tag under your wheel.
I just keep the iPad in it.
Oh, it's a carrying case.
So I'd like to ask for the representative from the food bank. Nancy is here. I'm assuming she's going to be here. Alice, are you representing both the municipal alliance? Oh, no. I'm sorry. Fran. Oh, I didn't see you. Sorry. Come up too. Come up too. And I'm sorry, Frank, I didn't see you. I was wondering why you were hesitating.
Roz, is that mic on? Because is the microphone still on? Okay.
Okay, well, one of the pleasures, beside seeing 20,000 people showing up for the Franklin Day Festival this year, is the fact that the money that is raised for the festival is also part of it is being set aside for really worthy causes in Franklin Township. And once a year, I have the privilege of presenting, right now, a make-believe check, but the real checks will be there shortly to some of the organizations that we are very proud to support. So I'd like to present, first of all, to the Franklin Food Bank, a check for $2,000. And I know this is a time of the year that you are particularly in need of money for the food bank. So it's our pleasure to be able to support it, and it's our pleasure that we were able to raise those kinds of funds. The two other organizations, and one has been headed for many years from the very beginning by our councilwoman, Kimberly Francois, the Franklin Youth Initiative, and we have here a check coming for the Youth Initiative for $2,000. So, and we have one new organization we have just started to support. It's one that I've been involved with, and I see how valuable their contribution is. If you're not aware of the Municipal Alliance, they work on addiction issues for youth having to do with drugs and alcohol, and Alice does a phenomenal job. So we have a check here for $500 for the Municipal Alliance. So let's give these folks a round of applause. Would anybody like to say anything? It's our pleasure to support you, and I know the money will be well spent for our families. Thank you.
Frank, I know you want to say something. You need to say something, Frank, okay? So I just want to say that we started the Franklin Youth Initiative when we had some gang violence here in Franklin Township, and it's been over 10 years. We don't get any money from the township budget to run that program. So this money will go a long way to our Boys Council program, to our Girls Circle program, the police provide a police academy for the funding for that. And our children, when we have after-school programs, we have a drop-in center over at the middle school. This money is going to help provide snacks and different games and things over there at the drop-in center. So I want to say thank you very, very much, Councilwoman Sherman. You've been very dedicated to our program for years. There was a time when you ran a subcommittee when we did the Business Career Day. You ran the business subcommittee, and you ran the career fair, and we had that career fair probably for 4 consecutive years, and our kids got introduced to job training, career opportunities, and apprenticeships. And again, we didn't have any money to do that, so we've been running the Franklin Youth Center, Franklin Youth Initiative without any monies from the township, but our children have been benefiting quite a bit from that. So thanks again, Councilwoman Sherman.
Roz, don't go away. I'm not. Actually, the problem is you are.
Oh, yes, that's true.
So for those who don't know, Councilwoman Sherman did not run for reelection, and her term ends at the end of the year. So we are going to be giving her a plaque and this commendation. Whereas the Township of Franklin is benefited by citizens who contribute their time, talent, and skills for the betterment of the community, and whereas Rosalind Sherman has served the community of Franklin Township, Somerset County, as Councilwoman, Ward 2, from January 1st, 2010 through December 31st, 2017, as Deputy Mayor from January 1st, 2013 through December 31st, 2013, and whereas Councilwoman Sherman was instrumental in the formation of the Cultural Arts Council and the Franklin Day Festival, as well as being a major force in improving the economic development in the town, and whereas in connection to her tenure in the Township Council, Rosalind Sherman served on various boards and committees which are merely a small indication of her dedication to this community and its residents, and her desires and efforts to keep Franklin Township a home in which all can be proud. Now, therefore, we, the Mayor and Township Council of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, on behalf of its residents, do hereby thank and commend Rosalind Sherman for her devotion and dedication to our community and its residents, and it is signed by all the remaining 8 council members. Presenting her with this plaque in recognition and sincere appreciation of your dedicated service to the Township of Franklin, presented to Rosalind Sherman, Councilwoman, Ward 2, January 1st, 2010 to December 31st, 2017, and Deputy Mayor from January 1st, 2013 to December 31st, 2013, by Township Council manager, staff, and residents of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset.
So this is an evening of goodbyes, or until we meet again. I don't have 30 years in this town as our chief has had, but I'm a newbie. I've been here 14 years, but I got involved in politics almost immediately upon moving into Franklin Township. And I sincerely appreciate the opportunity that I have been given to serve the people of this community. I thank all of those residents who have been there to support me. I thank the residents of the Second Ward who had the confidence to elect me and allow me this privilege of being able to work in this wonderful township. I've learned a lot, I've grown a lot, and I have to say from my heart, being on the council has been one of the best experiences in my life. I have met such wonderful people. I have been given such great opportunities. This council would allow me to do projects that if I gave them the rationale behind it, they supported me totally through the whole process. I am particularly proud of some of the programs that I have worked on. going back to that FYI job fair program that lasted for several years and hopefully gave some of our youth an opportunity to move into areas that they had not given any thought that they could. I've done many projects, but the ones that stand out are the FYI program, the Economic Development Program, because that's going to outlive a lot of us, a lot of our terms on council, because it will result in a development of a new direction for Franklin Township. We will stay focused on the future and keep this a vital and a very wonderful community to live in. And of course, there's Franklin Day Festival, which I've talked about so many times, but it has been a thrill to watch it grow from 4,000 people to 20,000 people. Astounding. But that's something that just proves what a great community this is, how we come together, how we spend time together, how we share together. And I have come to put my roots down in Franklin. My son has moved here and his family, so I'm not going anywhere. But it's been a long time since I felt a connection with a town the way I feel about Franklin. So again, I appreciate the opportunity and the privilege that I have been given to serve, and I hope that I have left this town a little bit better as a result of having served. Thank you very much.
So I'm truly going to miss Roz. We started on council at the same time. She actually, back when she was the chairman of the party, drafted me to be a ward chair, much against my consternation. I may not be standing here had she not done that. She has been my closest confidant on council. I was able to bounce things off of her without fear of any consequences of having a stupid idea, and I had many. She had many bright ideas and set me straight and gave me a course, and I will miss that council in the time to come. But I have a feeling we're not going to be without her. We shall hear from her. We shall employ her in tasks as we need to, because she is someone who very much wants to be involved with the community. So I thank you. And the chief, before he went back there, asked to speak, and he's got a gun and a lot of people, so I'm going to let him.
Right now, Bob's already pushing me out. Was it Larry who? No, I just want to personally, on behalf of the men and women of the police department, Ms. Sherman, thank you for everything. You were always, I know you're in a tough spot being on council. You have to look out for the citizens, and, you know, you can't give us everything, but you were always very, very supportive of the police department, and we enjoyed the time working with you. I know myself and the command staff who are standing back there, we enjoy working with you on public safety, and we wish you nothing but the best of luck in your future endeavors, and thank you for everything.
Same to you.
Dedication and commitment to
Don't get the group shot?
Yes.
Shot. Where's the group shot? Come on. Let's get the group shot. Wow, where the group shot at? Come on. Group shot. Come on. Let's get the group shot.
All right. We're
Group
doing
shot. Group shot.
Where's Lou? You can come in, Lou.
Oh, okay. Usually they make me.
No.
Right here.
Right here by the...
There you go, Roz.
Okay.
Stand in front of her.
Chairs are in the way. We have to move the chairs.
in.
Group shot.
Sideways.
No, not in the photo.
As they rearrange the furniture, do we have a motion to open for public discussion?
So moved.
Seconded?
Moved and seconded. All in favor of public discussion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. We are now open for public discussion. Anyone wishing to speak on an item relating to government may do so. Limited to 5 minutes, no yielding of time. You may only come up once. Please state your name and address.
Is that the way you wanted to proceed, Mr.
I'm going to proceed.
That's the way you wanted to proceed? This is like musical chairs.
No, I want to do that after the second reading.
Oh, okay, that's when you're going to do it?
Yep.
Okay. Mayor, man.
Anyone wishing to speak, please come up.
Is she coming?
Can I speak while the police are being rowdy out there?
I think our manager's going to close the doors.
How's that?
Linda Powell, 22 Buffer Drive. First of all, I want to thank Councilwoman Rosalind Sherman, not only for her being my councilwoman most of the time I lived in her district, but also for being a community activist and organizer, and I know she's going to continue that. She held an informational meeting at Somerset Run for the residents of that community to learn more about the gas compressor station it's proposed to be built in Franklin and the pipeline expansion under Raritan Bay. And task force members are available to help share information, answer questions, and generally inform residents about this proposed project. So if you know anyone who would like to organize or attend such a meeting, either in their community, their neighborhood, or their place of worship, you can contact us through our website or through Councilman Sherman or Councilman Prasad's email address. And our website is www.scrap-nessie.org. Also, we wanted to let you know that the draft environmental impact statement is due to be released by the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission very early next year, possibly even in January 2018. We will have 45 days to comment on this massive document. We're looking for people with some technical skills, whether it's engineering, chemistry, knowledge about air pollution, birds, noise, or environment to help read a section of the document. Also, within those 45 days, FERC, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, will hold public hearings in our area, and it's important to have people turn out in great numbers to these hearings. FERC does not usually consider the health impact in the environmental impact statement, but if enough townships and enough residents request and push for a health impact assessment, they may just consider it, and obviously that is important to us as human beings. All this information and more, again, is on our website, scrap, SCRAP-nessie.org. I also want to thank all the members of the council, especially our two council liaisons, Dr. Ched Chase and Rajiv Prasad, as well as our mayor, our township manager, our township clerk, and Township lawyer for their continued work and support. And I want to wish everyone a happy Hanukkah, a happy solstice, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, and a Happy New Year. And in case I left anything out, Happy Holidays.
Thank you. Karazi, Dr. Karazi.
Good evening. Alex Karazi, 14 Margaret Drive, Somerset. Mr. Mayor, first of all, happy Hanukkah. I just came from actually Hanukkah candlelighting at Temple Bethel, and I wanted to wish all of our Jewish friends and neighbors a very happy Hanukkah, as well as everybody else. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and any other holidays that they celebrate. We indeed have a wonderful, diverse community, and that's so great to celebrate at different days and different part of the year. I also wanted to especially thank Roz for all the work that she has done. And there are many others that she didn't mention, but she is very active in from interfaith and to other activities through youth and so forth. And I also want to take the opportunity to thank Chief Roberts, who on every occasion that we have reached out to him, and in a few times I have done personally, asking for extra patrol and support, he provided the support that we needed. So I want to take the opportunity to thank him one more time. So happy holidays, everybody, and thank you very much. And our township manager always is a wonderful person, and he supports us as well. Thank you, Bob. Take care.
Thank you.
Hi. Bernadette Marr, 4 Norris Road, Somerset, New Jersey. I just wanted to wish everyone happy holidays and thank the council for all their help in our struggle against the compressor station. I especially want to thank Roz Sherman for all her service to the community, not only with that, but all the other things that you do. It's really been appreciated, and we hope that we continue to work with you in the future in a different capacity. Thanks so much.
Mayor, seeing no one else coming forward, a motion to close the public portion of the meeting.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. All in favor of closing the public portion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Public portion is closed. It is now time for council committee reports. I will give Councilwoman Sherman the honor of going last. So we'll start with Rajiv Prasad, Council.
Mayor, thank you. And we haven't had a land use or admin or, well, we did have a human relations meeting where the new middle school principal had come, and it looks like he's going to get things in order. So we were fortunate to have him there. And other than that, other committees, the Community Foundation hasn't met for a while. So that's my report on the committees. And as far as the public, want to thank the Compressor Task Force for all their hard work, dedication, and keeping us all out of trouble, and keeping us, you know, in line with what we need to do. So thank you for goading us to stay alert and on top of the fight. And it is a marathon, and we will continue to fight. So be rest assured that we're there for you. Beyond that, thank you to the chief and Roz for all your service. And happy Hanukkah. I would have been there at the Temple Bethel, except tonight was a council meeting, so I couldn't make it. And beyond that, happy holidays, stay safe, and see you all on January 1st, 2 to 4 p.m. for the reorg swearing in. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Chanel Robinson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On November 18th, I had the honor, privilege, and pleasure to stand side by side with our mayor to dedicate another Habitat for Humanity home. Just being a part of helping someone actually build their future and building a house so that they can have a home is very, very touching and moving. And so I look forward to swinging a hammer or two to help them move the process along. The only other two comments I have is Housing Authority. We met with our annual retreat, and what we have established thus far are some goals that will be memorialized by the entire body shortly. But we were able to establish 3 short-term and 3 long-term strategies for the Housing Authority. And once that's available, I will go into detail once the board has memorialized those goals and strategies. And the final thing that I have is I just want to make those of you who are veterans, make you aware that there is good news for those of us that are in the number of 500,000 or so veterans living in New Jersey. There is a $3,000 tax exemption that would apply to any New Jersey taxpayer who is a veteran that has been honorably discharged or released under honorable circumstances from active duty in the armed forces of the United States. A veteran is based upon the definition as defined under the New Jersey statute NJSA 38A, as used in Chapter 3, Title 38A of the New Jersey statute. And it reads, on Part B, says, veteran means any person who has served in any branch of the armed forces of the United States for at least 90 days. You can certify for the exemption by sending a copy of your DD-214. For further information, you can go to www.state.nj.us/treasury/taxation/new exemption veterans. So again, good news for those of us who are veterans who have been honorably discharged. And again, please, you would have to file veteran exemption submission form prior to you processing your income tax. So there is a form to be completed before you file your taxes in order to get that exemption. Mr. Mayor, I have nothing further.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Happy holidays to everyone.
Councilwoman, that's great information for our veterans. Perhaps you could send an email with that information to the manager, and he could put a slide up on FTTV.
Will do.
Reminding people of that. Councilman Dr. Ted Chase.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. None of the committees that I'm on have met. I did yesterday a 10-day symposium on stormwater management at Stony Brook Millstone Watershed Association. And while I learned something, I was also able to tell the people there about policies that, well, they're more than policies, they're ordinances that we have about by which the township can take from developers the stormwater management facilities on payment of 25 years worth of maintenance, and then the township will maintain them, which is a lot more certain maintenance than if they remain in private hands. If such facilities do remain in private hands, they have to be inspected at least yearly, and the owners have to pay a fee to which defrays the cost of the inspection by our engineering department. And there was a lot of concern of people at this meeting about how well are things maintained, and I was able to describe what we do to ensure that stormwater detention facilities are maintained. A thought I had during tonight's honoring, particularly of Chief Roberts, at the time, I'm still teaching one course at Rutgers, which in fact meets shortly before council meetings on Tuesdays. And several years ago, after what happened in Ferguson, Missouri, I mentioned to my class that I was going on to council meeting, and they said, well, gee, could there happen in your town what happened in Ferguson? And without missing a beat, without having to think about it, I said, no, I'm completely confident that with our police force, that sort of thing would not happen here. So, and I want to thank Roz for all that she has done for the township and for the Democratic Party in particular. When we found it necessary to change the leadership of the Township Democratic Party, she led that effort and stepped in and served as chair of the party for 2 years. And this is something that got us away from what we feared was becoming an unhealthy dependence on Middlesex County. Since then, really, our relations are with our Somerset County party, and I think that's much better. We also bulk much bigger to Somerset County. But I thank Roz for everything that she has done for the township, and probably the biggest thing is setting up Franklin Day, which has become such a huge success. And it will be a very difficult act to follow her in running that. So, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Chase. Councilman Jim Vasanella.
Thank you, Mayor. So, the only meeting I guess I have to report on is the New Jersey Housing Resource Center, which I'm on the board of. Met at their yearly planning meeting. We plan all of our mission and finances for the upcoming year, and I can report that Franklin remains one of the largest needs for that agency's services, but also is looked at and remains one of the shining examples of how to handle affordable housing and just in general housing needs and education for residents concerning housing, home ownership, etc. So we're in good hands, and we're also fortunate to have that agency working for the residents of Franklin. I want to thank Chief Roberts. I remember when I first got on council, I think he was a lieutenant, I'm not sure, but I've seen him go through a few promotions, obviously deputy chief, and I'm not sure how many managers he's worked with over the years, but I know just the time I've been on council, he's worked with, this is his third, managers, yeah, and I'm sure he worked for several police chiefs. And I say that because whether you're on council, the police department, you don't stick around and you don't elevate unless you know how to get along with people.
No, I'm his fourth manager.
Fourth manager.
And yes, I'm his fourth manager.
So
yeah. Because I'm the fourth manager, and he started 2 years after I did in the police department, so. And
Gives
it was
you a
the
little-
same one that we started under.
A little timeline, but serious in reflection of what Councilman Chase was saying, none of us always agree on everything, but I think that we're all comfortable. I know I've been to know that at the end of the day, you didn't have to worry. We have a stellar police department, and we had leadership that we knew took care of things, and we would not have to worry. And today, with the size of our town and the way the world is, sometimes you don't realize how fortunate you are to have that type of comfort and that sense of comfort when you go home at night. So thank you, Chief Roberts. Obviously couldn't do it without the people in his command, but thank you for your leadership. Roz, you brought a lot of ideas to the table. And that speaks to your desire to make Franklin better. We've served on a lot of committees. Some ideas you brought didn't transpire, and others did beyond, I think, even your own imagination could have ever imagined them. Franklin Day being a shining example. But we all bring different skills, different ideas, and I like to think we all bring passion, and Roz obviously has been a shining example of that, because no matter where we're at or no matter what the topic, she always seems to be thinking and wanting to come up with a way to make this town better. And you can't ask for much more than that from a council representative. So thank you, Roz, and to everyone out there, or Councilwoman Sherman, I should say, and to everyone out there, have a good, fun, and safe holiday.
Thank you, Councilman Vasanella. Councilwoman Kimberly Francois.
This really has been a night of bittersweet. First of all, I want to thank Bernadette and Linda and the Compressor Task Force for providing so much education and awareness on what's been going on, the impact of that compressor statement and what it's going to do to our residents. So thank you for being persistent and keep up the fight on behalf of the citizens of Franklin Township. And I hope that we can continue to support you in whatever way that you need supported. I know I haven't been involved, but I can't be involved in everything. I'm stretched way too thin. I also want to say thank the Chief Roberts. When he was talking about 25 years, I was sitting here bewildered thinking, has it really been 25 years? Am I really that old? I was like, I even said to him, are you sure it's been 25 years? He said, don't you remember? And I was like, oh, yeah, I guess it has been 25 years. But I want to thank him for his leadership and his dedication and his devotion to all the people here in Franklin Township. On behalf of the Franklin Youth Initiative, there's no way I could have done all the work that I did on behalf of the youth without the support of the police department and his leadership and his dedication to that program. So I really want to thank the police department for the academy that they put forth, and they have every year, and they've been having that for like the last 7 years. And I think he set the tone for the police department in terms of how they behave and how they protect and how they serve and how they made Franklin Township such a wonderful place to live. And we're all very, very grateful for his leadership, and we will miss him for sure. And then for Councilwoman Rosalind Sherman, I can't say enough about you. When you were the chairwoman of the Franklin Township Democratic Party, I remember one day you were in my kitchen, and you kind of said to me, Kimberly, why are you doing this? Why have you done this for so long? And then about a year later, you got on the council. And you've been a shining star. You've been very dedicated. You've provided so much thought leadership in terms of economic development, the Franklin Day Festival, what you've done for the Franklin Youth Initiative. You jumped in there. That was pretty much your first initiative that you really, really rolled up your sleeves and worked with me on. I could not have done all of that work back then without you. I remember we ran around to the job fairs soliciting people to come to our career fair.
We got in trouble, too.
We got in trouble. They kicked us out. So we worked very, very tirelessly together, and I'm gonna really miss your energy and your dedication and your devotion. You've done so much for Franklin Township, and thank you so much for your service and all that you've done. And don't go too far.
I won't.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Charles Onijaka.
Okay, Mayor. First of all, I want to use this opportunity and privilege to thank our police chief. Not only as a police chief, but he worked very hard as a friend. And his dedication, most especially to the African community and West African community in Franklin. And anytime we call him, he's there. And he gives his support. So definitely we're going to miss him. And at the same time, I want to use this privilege to thank Roz for her dedication and support. The same thing to the West African community too. and her advice. And definitely the council will miss her too. And the third one is I just received a complaint from my residents. And in fact, they told me that they'll be missing their package this time, which is not a good thing. I received almost 4 calls today. So I want to create this awareness to other members, and at the same time, we have to find a way to tackle this problem. Every time during the Christmas time, this is what we get. So this is why I want to bring this to the resident, that they should be very, very careful and watch for their package. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. So I saw that email too. This was in the part of town Councilman Onechaka is from. I sent it on to the chief, and the chief responded that there have been arrests made in that area of people stealing UPS packages, et cetera, from the people's front steps. So yes, be careful. But our police are, as usual, on the scene and active in the issue. Councilwoman Sherman.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I get to call
Yeah, last time I say thank you, Mr. Mayor. For a person with only 2 weeks left in her term, I have to tell you this last 2 weeks has been extraordinarily busy for me and very fruitful. I can't believe all the opportunities that sort of have poked their heads up. So let me talk to you a little bit about some of them, and I hope they're as exciting for you as they are for me. The Municipal Alliance is something I've served on for several years and sort of helped in little ways here or there. But then recently, I grabbed on to a comment we got from one of our people on the Alliance about Healthier Somerset. It's not an organization that we've really had much connection with, but I came to learn that this is run by the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, that it includes United Way, it includes Rutgers, and NAMI, which is a mental health organization, and a few others I can't think of right now, but they work to help communities within Somerset County. There are grant opportunities involved in the program. I will learn more because Alice Sipowicz and I will be attending a meeting next week, and we're going to request that the township become a member of Healthier Somerset, and I will be the representative from the township to that organization, bringing back the ideas to the Municipal Alliance. We're very excited about the opportunities, and Alice and I went to the Interfaith Council, which Alex Karazi is the head of, and he brings together members of the various faith groups in Franklin, and it's an opportunity. We've reached out to the schools, but we've never quite made the connection to the Interfaith Council. And basically, we're looking for adults as well as youth that have addiction problems, as I mentioned earlier, either alcohol or drugs. And the Municipal Alliance puts together some wonderful programs that we can make available to the interfaith organizations in Franklin. So, as well as what we're going to learn from Healthier Somerset and how we can work with the interfaith group. We also went to speak with our superintendent of schools to find ways that we can work more closely with the decision makers so that we are best reflecting what they see as the needs of the students in the schools. There's a lot going on. I'm very excited about the Municipal Alliance and what the opportunities are for making this town even healthier, better, and less involved with any of these addictive type of habits that there are. So that's one of the things that's going to keep me busy when I'm finished serving on the council. I also wanted to talk a little bit about the Economic Development Committee that I have been chairing, and that will end obviously when I am finished at the end of the year. We have not had a meeting for a while as a group, but there are a lot of things going on, which I picked up during a meeting that a woman from an organization called Einstein Alley came to Franklin Township. I don't know if you've ever noticed the sign. I think it's on Cottontail, on Cottontail Lane. It was installed when Rush Holt was our congressman, and it is basically designates Franklin as a technology center. Now, we have a lot of technology companies in Franklin Township. They're quiet, they're in the industrial area, but we do have a lot of very cutting-edge organizations in Franklin. But with our economic development program, we decided to have the woman who runs the organization come in and see how can we work more closely with them. And she was kind of astounded about what we have here in Franklin. We're awfully low-key about what we have, and that's one of the things that will be addressed by our economic development program, because we need branding. We need people to know who we are. We may be one town in 8 villages, but most people don't know the town. They'll know East Millstone, they'll know Kingston, but a lot of people don't know Franklin. So we need to brand ourselves. And part of that will be technology. And Catherine Kish, who runs Einstein Alley, has already met with Vince Dominic from our Economic Development Organization, and will be working on helping us market Franklin. So there's a new opportunity that really just happened. So we're very excited about that, and I know the committee will be delighted at the things that are coming down the pike for this town, and I know it will move forward with the opportunities as they come. So that's a great thing. Another thing that happened in this short 2-week span since the last council meeting, what was it, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, that Frank Resta and I started talking about Marconi and all of the artifacts. Okay, goes back even farther. All of the things that they had and the marvelous photos they had, and how could they do something with it. And then we came and talked to our township manager, who happens to be a history buff, and got him all excited about it. We started a conversation with the Meadows Foundation, and then things moved off in different directions. Well, that conversation has been resurrected, and the conversation is about a museum for Franklin Township. And we had originally, that many years back, identified through the Meadows Foundation the dairy barn at Hageman Farm. We had not been back there since that time. At that time, it was, the trough was still in the middle where the cow stood on the end, and it has since been renovated, not totally, but the floor has been cemented, the area has been cleaned up, and we're excited again about the potential of a museum for Franklin Township. So I know the manager is planning the next step of bringing all the historic organizations, and I think there are 9 of them.
About 9, yeah, I think there are 9.
In Franklin Township, and figuring how to utilize the space as a welcome center for Franklin, as well as a way for people to see what each one of these historic areas has available for them to go see as a tourist, or something to bring our school kids into, give them an education. The second floor, which is gorgeous, really, but it is not heated, would be used for farm implements, and people can walk up there, and we have a lot of historic stuff in this town, so I'm sure a lot of new ideas will come as it moves along, but I'm confident the manager will keep it moving, and it's something that the town will be another great thing coming to Franklin Township. I did attend a meeting at the farmers market, of the farmers market group, and they had several of their vendors there, and many of them did well. It was a first year, it was a bit of a gamble, but they came and they were pleased with what they saw. They're coming back again next year, and as with the Franklin Day Festival, it starts small and then it grows. I have no doubt that eventually the market in Franklin will become as famous or as well known as some of the others that have been functioning for many, many years. So I'm glad to have been part of that one. Let's see, I did go to the tree lighting program that the township had, and there was a little change this year. They had some games for the children, and that was very successful. I've been talking with Alice, who runs it, about perhaps they doing some kind of a small Christmas market attached to it. So, there'll be some nice little changes coming in that as next year comes around. I think that takes care of my list, but there's even more, but for now I'll hold back on some of it because it's too complicated to get into it, but there are some really interesting programs coming through the Municipal Alliance that I hope at some point to come back, stand at that podium, and let everybody know what's happening and keep you informed, and hope that you will participate and support what's happening. You'll be delighted at some of the things coming down the pike. So last but not least, well, there is a blood drive, so let me mention that. Okay. On the Friday, the 15th, and it runs from 9 until 3. They're always in need of blood. There's always a shortage, so please do your best to try to get there from 9 until 3. It's held right here, actually. So please participate in that. So I want to just express my pleasure and joy of having served on this council for 8 years. They've given me the opportunity to express my various passions, and I have a lot of them. So they've been tolerant and they've been supportive, and I've been very grateful for that support, and hope that, as I said, I leave Franklin a little bit better for having been here on the council, but I'm not going away. And you'll see me here. You'll see me at the Franklin Day Festival, which is on September 22nd. So please mark your calendars, and I'll see you at other community events. Thank you all for allowing me to serve this community. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Thank you very, very much. Deputy Mayor Carl Wright.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As Councilman Prasad said, and Councilman Ted Chase, our meetings haven't been held this month because of obvious reasons, everyone moving around. But I do have one thing for the residents of Franklin Township, and that is the Somerset Community Action Program, in conjunction with the Franklin Township Community Resource and Services Department, will bring you 3 financial literacy classes. They offer a class each month, and the classes can help you invest in your future by giving you the knowledge and skills necessary to begin reducing your debt, beginning savings, and improving your credit. All the classes will start at 7 p.m. Now, kind of late on this one, but the next class is December the 13th. Tomorrow. And you will learn the benefits of having a checking and savings account at a financial institution, understanding different types of insurance and how to protect your identity and your assets. And of course, all the classes are open to the public. So I would encourage everyone to come here to the council. I think the meetings are held in the council chamber.
It's actually in a large conference room. There's another meeting here in this room tomorrow. So it'll be in the large conference room.
So please come down. I know it's short, but come down, pick up something, and find out when the next meeting is held, because it's very important if and all of us can improve ourselves, financially speaking. Now, to Councilwoman Sherman, I love you. We've had our differences. We've gone back and forth. But at the end of the day, I think we pulled everything together to make us great here in Franklin Township. So for that, I thank you for. To our Chief of Police, our retiring Chief of Police, Yes, I do make phone calls. Yes, I do want to know information. And yes, he does answer the phone. Now, when I do, I'm a funeral director. And when I do services and we have a large contingent, something I don't plan on, I do give him a call. And the chief has always picked up the phone and been able to help us out. And especially when coming out to get on Route 27, which, as we all know, is a major artery, and that's a hard thing to do. So I want to thank the chief for helping me out and helping the residents of Franklin Township. And with that,
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. And one thing that, another semi-goodbye is people serve as Deputy Mayor for a year. And Councilman Wright, this will be his last meeting. I would like to point out he served the entire year with the sign outside that lists the council members, listing Councilman Chase as the Deputy Mayor. So I'm somewhat confused, but that's very good, and I thank you for your service. I've already thanked the chief and Councilwoman Sherman. Happy Hanukkah, Christmas, Saturna, Kwanzaa, and of course, Festivus.
Of course.
You reminded me of Ed McMahon tonight, Mr. Manager. Our counselor doesn't normally have something to say, but he informed me that he had something tonight.
I guess this is the night where everybody has to calculate how long we've all known each other. So, and it's actually, so my first appointment in Franklin was January 1st, 1999. That was also the day that the second round rules for COA expired. This week, 18 years later, Franklin received approval of its fair share housing plan, which is not the first time we've received approval of our third round plan, but I'm hoping that it will be the one that lasts through the next 10 years, or at least until 2025, unless the Supreme Court makes a change. But I wanted to note that because I thought it was important, but the process that happened in court I thought was interesting, and it's something I wanted you to know because it reflects on council and it reflects on the staff. The Fair Share Housing Coalition is the housing agency that's been essentially appointed by the Supreme Court to be the guardian of the Mount Laurel Doctrine, and they appear in every case. They had one question of the special master when the plan was put before the court, and their only question was, is there another town that you can think of that has so fully met its commitment to provide safe and affordable housing to its residents? And the special master said no. And I think that really says a lot. And in chambers before we met, the special master kind of elaborated and said that Franklin is such a unique example of smart planning that it could preserve the open space that it preserved and meet its Mount Laurel obligation. And when the judge approved it, he made sure he emphasized that it wasn't just planned for affordable housing, but it was constructed affordable housing. And they noted, for the record, for instance, we are extending controls on units in Franklin, and the reason we're extending controls on units is because 30 years ago, Franklin was building affordable housing. So that, I just think I get a chance, I'm lucky because I get a chance to go and advocate on behalf of the township, and it's you know, it's a proud moment for me when I do that. But I also wanted to just point out that you have Mark Healy and Vince Dominic, who are like the guardians of this smart planning process in the town. They do a remarkable job. And everybody in the state knows that and recognizes that. So I just thought, you know, when good things happen, it's important to note them.
Thank you. Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That's a tough one to follow.
Stand by. It's inevitable, Council.
It is. I'm interrupted.
Deputy Mayor Wright has.
I think we ought to thank our attorney here, because without our attorney, things may not have gone as smooth. So I want to thank our counselor, Mr. Lou Raynon, for doing an outstanding job in representing Franklin Township. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt, but I had to get him in there.
And I'm not retiring.
Nor am I.
I'm just never retiring.
Actually, we don't know that till January 1st. Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That's all very tough things to follow, so I'll just talk about the normal mundane business of the township. One, our leaf collection is being extended to the week of the 18th. Given the mild temperatures and mild weather that we had in the fall, clearly there was not an opportunity for the December 4th deadline for all of our residents to get their leaves in bags. They hadn't fallen off the trees yet in most cases. So we have extended it through next week. So you have until next week to put your bags out if you wish them to be collected by the township. Otherwise, you may certainly bring them at no charge to the convenience center on Berry Street. So there is that. There is a new part, a new component to our website that I would like to bring everyone's attention to. I had a discussion with Safi Callan, our special projects manager, about my desire to make our website more robust and to include things that highlighted the good things of Franklin Township, because there are many, many good things in Franklin Township. And that discussion was had back in October, and it just so happened that it was Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And in the spotlight, if you go to our website, right on the main page in the center, is a new thing called Hello Franklin. And it just says, join us for stories on the wonderful faces and places that make up Franklin Township. This month, read 3 powerful stories of how these Franklinites turned tragedy into triumph and awareness into inspiration. It is stories on Vanessa Coleman, Rosa Davis, and Dorothy Reed, who are all associated with the Sisters Network of Central Jersey, and who are all breast cancer survivors. And it is their story and what brought them to now dedicate their lives to awareness for women in the breast cancer awareness area. Read the stories. This is the first of what will be a regular monthly topic on our website. It will focus on people. It will focus on places, on businesses that we wish to make people aware of that are here and are good things that we are proud of and that we want everyone to know about. So that's the first in a series of articles that will be published on our website. That's all I have as far as reporting is concerned, Mr. Mayor. The only thing I'd say is, so I got the privilege of sitting next to this woman for the last, I guess, 4 years now? First year, you weren't here, but then you moved over next to me and you stayed, which made me think that at least you liked sitting next to me. You are the council person who I probably got to go on the most field trips with. We have been all over this town in all different reasons, and I have enjoyed every bit of it. Your energy is contagious. You're very, very difficult to say no to. I have gotten to do things with you that I haven't gotten to do with any of these others, and I was very happy to do it, and you have brought out in me things that I had forgotten were there. And for that, I am very appreciative. And I have your phone number, and I won't lose it. And I will continue to go to you with questions, and I'm sure that you will do to me as well. I think we work well that way together. And I will miss you sitting next to me, but I won't miss you because you're not really going away. So thank you for everything that we have shared over the last 5 years that I have been manager. I appreciated every bit of it. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That's all.
Thank you. We are now on to council discussion items, of which there are none. And then item 10, approval of the minutes. I present the following minutes for approval by the Township Council. Work session, regular meeting of April 26, 2016, November 13, 2017, and November 28, 2017, all at 7 p.m. Special meeting, August 10, 2016, June 29th, 2017, both at 7 p.m., and executive session November 13, 2017. Do I have a motion on the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any corrections or discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson?
A through E, yes. F, abstain. I was absent.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella? Deputy Mayor Wright?
Item number 11, approval of the warrants. The warrants are the bills we pay. Warrants in the amount of $9,767,793.68 on December 12th, 2017 are presented to the Township Council for payment. Do I have a motion on the warrants?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion or questions on the warrants? Seeing none, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wright?
We are now on to item number 12, public hearing and adoption of ordinances on second reading. I'm going to take the chair's prerogative before we read the ordinance. This will be the water ordinance, the one about changing how we're going to bill for water. The manager has a message for us.
I do. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I'm sorry that Councilman Vasanella has gotten up and left the room. So, at our last council meeting, there was a great deal of discussion, I think led by Councilman Vasanella, about that particular ordinance amendment that dealt with two things. One was the automatic rate increases as to our regular rate, but also a creation of a new fee that would be structured in such a way that it would need to be adopted by ordinance annually by council. Based on, I think, primarily on Councilman Vasanella's questioning of the necessity for this and what it was all about, I took the opportunity over the last 2 weeks to look into this further and look into how other towns bill for water and all of the different other options that we have. And I think what I have found is that I believe that I have found a better way to do this. The problem that I have is that better way will take me much more than 2 weeks to sort out, because there are 19,000 lines in that Excel spreadsheet right now of all of our accounts that I need to begin to do the analysis on to determine exactly how this will work. I'm not going to spring this on you, but I think that it would be wise at this point to table this ordinance amendment and allow me to work on this so that there could be a new ordinance introduced in January or early February, which will be in more than enough time to deal with the issues that need to be dealt with. So,
Motion to table?
So, hang on, we haven't read the ordinance yet. So, there's many ways for this to die. We could table it. We could just, when I read the ordinance, if no one makes a motion, then it dies. If we table it, it dies at the end of the year, or we could vote no on it. So I will simply read the ordinance, and if we get no motion, then it's dead. Ordinance number 4218-17, an ordinance amending the code of the Township of Franklin in the County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, more particularly Chapter 384, Water, Article 4, Water Rates and Meter Charges, Section 384-12, Quarterly Consumption Charges. Public hearing has been noticed as required, and we should have a public hearing on it. The meeting is, I'm sorry, do we have a motion to open for public hearing? We should at least open it to public hearing. Thank you.
Second.
Seconded.
Moved in, seconded. All in favor of opening for public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. We are open for public discussion.
Mr. Mayor, seeing no one come forward, I make a motion, we close the public hearing.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. All in favor of closing public discussion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. The reason I wanted to do that is once upon a time, we did table a motion, an ordinance, before we allowed for public discussion, and I've always regretted doing that. But now do we have this would be a time, if no one motions, then the article will die. Do we have a motion on the ordinance itself?
Mr. Mayor, can I just only suggest, just for the purpose of the minutes so that they're clear, not doing anything kind of muddles the minutes.
Okay.
I would request that there be a motion to
Table.
table it or vote it down so that the minutes are clear.
Okay. Do we have a motion on the item?
So moved. Make a
Second.
motion to table.
Second.
So I understand there is a motion to table from Councilwoman Francois and a second from Councilwoman Robinson. The only discussion on it is when to table. We don't have to have that discussion. Is there any discussion? Seeing
think-
none,
I was just going to say, I think we should allow the opportunity for the manager, whatever time he needs, to come back to the table. And we don't set the timeline, but he give us what he's able to come back with.
okay. Any other discussion? Hearing none, Madam, this is a motion to table. Madam Clerk?
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wright?
Okay. And it is quite ironic that Councilman Vasanello was not there for any of that. Ordinance 4219-17, an ordinance authorizing the private sale of township-owned land located on Block 534, lots 6 through 9, 589 Howard Avenue in the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey. Habitat for Humanity, excuse me. A public hearing has been noticed as is required. Do we have a motion to open to public?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none. All in favor of opening for public discussion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Meeting is open for public discussion on this item only.
Mr. Mayor, seeing no one come forward, I make a motion that we close the public hearing for this ordinance.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Seeing no discussion on the motion to close public hearing. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Say nay. Motion is carried. Public session is closed. Do I have a motion on the item?
So moved.
Second.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Do we have any discussion on the item? Hearing no discussion, or seeing no discussion, Madam Clerk?
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman? Deputy Mayor Wright?
Ordinance number 4220-17, an ordinance of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, and State of New Jersey, authorizing the acceptance of a deed of dedication from Selig Koskun to Township of Franklin for premises known as Block 87.05, Lot 7.02, Susan Drive. The public hearing has been noticed as required. Do I have a motion to open to the public?
Motion for public hearing.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Seeing no discussion, all in favor of opening for public discussion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion is carried. We are open to public discussion on this item only.
Mr. Mayor, seeing no one come forward, I make a motion we close the public session.
Seconded.
Seconded.
A lot of spurious sounds tonight. Moved and seconded. Seeing no further discussion, all in favor of closing public discussion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Public discussion is closed. We have a motion on the item.
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on this 166 square feet of property?
Just for clarification, it's on the corner of Susan and what?
Camwell, it's where that bamboo is. And it's 166 square feet that we are spending money on motioning. Seeing any other discussion?
I don't think we're even spending money on it because it was a condition of a planning board approval.
No, we're not spending money on the property. We're spending money on the paperwork to do this.
True.
Anyway, Any other discussion? Seeing none. Madam Clerk?
Councilman Chase.
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois.
Yes.
Mayor Kramer.
Yes.
Councilman Oni Chaka.
Yes.
Councilman Prasad.
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wright.
Motion is passed. There are no ordinances on first reading because a little bit of civics here. Council is going to change, so we can't make a first reading with one council and then a second reading with another. So there can be no first readings at this meeting. We are now on to the consent agenda. Items A through AA, as listed on the consent agenda portion of this meeting, are presented to the Township Council for adoption. Do we have a motion on the consent agenda?
So moved. Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on the consent agenda? Does anyone want to mention any items or separate any items from the list?
I wanted to, Mr.
Councilman
Mayor,
Chase.
I just wanted to call council's attention to item N, to award a contract to develop the circulation element of the master plan. Our planner, Mark Healy, is doing all of the other aspects, but the planning board unanimously chose WSP USA to do this, and the circulation plan will, a large part of the aim of it will be to facilitate economic development, both on Hamilton Street and in the Davidson Avenue area. We want to do our circulation planning and such things as public transportation so as to further economic development of those areas.
Any other discussion on the consent agenda?
And get clarification on item O.
O is the ongoing management coaching program that we've done for the last 3 years.
And this is for trainer, is this for all employees or
No,
management?
this is the ongoing so at my prerogative, who receives it is at my direction. This is the ongoing coaching for the management coach that we've done for the last 3 years. She's going to continue on past the new year, so the contract would get awarded on an annual basis.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Councilman.
just a quick question on number H from our township manager, 17,462.
H is the annual renewal of our joint insurance fund. So for lack of a better term, it's our insurance. It's really beyond just our insurance. There are risk managers, there are workman's compensation, and any number of different liability policies, professional liability, property liability, and what have you. I have the pleasure of serving as a fund commissioner for our joint insurance fund. So it is far beyond just our insurance, but it is because we are, in essence, self-insured through the joint insurance fund. But it is that entity that processes all of those things for us.
I just wanted the township to know exactly where we were going, and sometimes they may not understand what this would do, so I would thank the township manager for explaining it to us.
Sure.
Any other items? Okay, seeing no further discussion, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Chase.
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois.
Yes.
Mayor Kramer.
Yes.
Councilman Oni Chaka.
Yes.
Councilman Prasad.
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wright.
Yes.
So we have 7 items to be voted on separately. May I have a motion to handle them as one, essentially a second consent agenda?
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. All in favor? We are not voting on the items itself. We are just voting to handle them together.
Well, I'd like to pull out 15C, Resolution 15C. I think that I'm not against the concept. I just think it needs to be vetted a little bit more, Councilman Prasad, through
So
the admin committee.
So hang on, so we'll discuss the item itself. So, who made the motion to do it all at once?
I did.
So, can you amend your motion?
So amended.
Motion so that we are joining all items except C.
Okay.
And who seconded? Councilman Chase, I think, seconded?
Yes.
So would you accept that
Yes.
change? So we have a motion. We are not voting on the items themselves. We are voting on the motion to join items A, B, D, E, and F. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. And now we can vote on the actual resolutions A, B, D, E, and F. Madam Clerk, is there any discussion on those items?
That's what I thought.
Seeing none, Madam Clerk?
You need a motion and a second.
Thank you. To have a motion on those items.
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on the items? Seeing none, Madam Clerk?
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Onechaka?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wright?
Yes.
So item C, Mr. Prasad, you brought this up. Would you like to read the title of the item C?
Yeah, it's a resolution authorizing a sister city agreement and establishing the advisory committee regarding the sister city agreement between Franklin Township, Somerset County, State of New Jersey, USA, and Marissa Township, Matara District, Southern Province, Sri Lanka. So this came about because
So wait, do we have a motion?
what?
I'll move it.
Motion from Councilman Chase. Do we have a second?
Second.
So now we have a motion, a second discussion. Go ahead, Mr. Prasad.
Well, this came about with the Sri Lankan ambassador holding a lot of events here in Franklin because the Buddha, there's about 600 families that live around that Buddha temple. And so he suggested that we consider a sister city agreement between us and a similar-sized city in Sri Lanka. And given that we are near the ocean, and of course Sri Lanka is an island, there is a town called Marissa where all the blue whale watching boats go out of, and there's a lot of potential for tourism back and forth. So there are economic benefits from it. There are, of course, cultural benefits. We have a large Buddhist population, and so do they. And, of course, our children would benefit from interactions with the two communities. So those were the reasons why we followed up with the ambassador, and he requested that the mayor send a letter to start the whole process of eventually signing a letter of intent and an agreement. Our legal counsel had actually drafted a similar agreement between the Township of Marlborough and a city in Japan. And so we took that as a prototype, and we're forwarding that to the Sri Lankan government to consider. But this is not a done deal. It is just to explore the sister city concept. And, so hopefully we'll have a greater interaction, and it would put Franklin on the map globally by doing so. And of course, the benefits that I already mentioned. There's a lot of scuba diving and, snorkeling and other activities that would be beneficial on both ends. So that's the explanation for what, and the history of what transpired and why we're doing
So
this.
let me tell you what confused me. When
Okay.
I asked to see a copy of the agreement, it was sent out by our township clerk, and then the township attorney said that's not even the right one. So
Exactly.
I'd like to see what the right one is and what the agreement
There isn't
actually look like. What kind of a concept are we authorizing?
We're just authorizing a discussion, an initial request to consider a sister city program. That's all. Would the, to be defined by a committee.
Does it require a resolution for exploratory?
The mayor thought that it should be, the council should be made aware of it, that we're entering into a discussion of a sister city program.
The letter that you drafted
Right.
said that the mayor and council
Right.
agree to do such and such, and I certainly don't have the authority to speak for mayor and council. Like, if it had said just mayor, then I might have considered doing it myself. But I felt most comfortable that it goes in front of all of council if it's going to say mayor and council.
And I applaud you for that, Mr. Mayor. And
Yeah, and I guess maybe I am old because I kind of remember this coming up before where there were other requests for us to be sister cities.
okay.
And I think we did have one.
Yes, and then we had another one that came up from the West African
From West Africa,
community. So I just want to make sure that we're doing this the right way
Right.
before
And-
we move forward.
And
That's what I'm-
ideally, you know, we should have
This
sister
is like a
city.
policy issue that
Yeah,
we need
well,
to vet
sister
through.
city could be with, you know, all 5 continents if we wanted.
Right.
But it's a good thing to have those international relationships and recognitions. So it's a good concept to have and explore. And if we can establish it, it puts up on the global map. So they would be recognizing us as a sister city, and we would be recognizing them here as a sister
So
city.
that means that we've established an agreement then.
Once we negotiate it,
Again, that's why my question is on the floor. From a legal perspective, do we have to have a resolution for exploratory?
Well, I just want to be clear. So there was a letter, and the letter basically proposed a sister city arrangement. This resolution authorizes the execution of an agreement. So it doesn't authorize an exploratory. It authorizes
well, we can
an
change the
execute.
language.
You know, and the other part of it, as I indicated in the email exchange today, Marlboro has a very elaborate program that 20 kids go every year. It's they've been doing it for a lot of time. They have an ordinance. They have an advisory committee that runs it. They have a deputy mayor that does almost nothing but this. So it's a pretty elaborate process, which I'm happy to put Franklin in touch with the people in Marlboro, and you could see how they do it and how it's done. But so this resolution, the letter, got to me yesterday. I said I didn't think the mayor could sign it without having a resolution. This is the resolution that got prepared. So, but this does authorize us to execute a sister city agreement. I just wanted to.
After it's been negotiated, but this is just a request to explore establishing an agreement. It is not an agreement itself, but an exploration.
That's not what the
Request.
attorney said. He just said that it was an agreement.
I know, so the letter needs to be
This
changed.
resolution executes the agreement.
Yeah, well, the ambassador came back to us and said, we want your head of your governing body, the mayor, to send us a letter, and then we will forward it to the government in Sri Lanka to start the whole exploration process.
Okay, so Councilman Prasad, I don't want you to think I'm against the concept, but I want to make a motion to table this until we flesh this out
So we have a-
properly.
Yes, Mr. Mayor,
We have a motion to
Can I-
table.
Mr. Mayor. To who?
Can I,
So
go ahead,
hang on,
Councilman
hang
Sherman.
on, thank you, Council. Thank you, Deputy Mayor, but let me run the meetings. So I have a motion to table. The next thing would be to ask for a second, but I can ask the person who made the motion to table if she would allow some other people to speak before we consider the
I'm
motion
sorry,
to table.
I'll withdraw my motion to table.
Okay. Councilwoman Sherman.
Thank you. I forgot part of my thinking process with all of that, but I agree.
Your mic's off.
Yeah, sorry, I pushed it down by mistake. That we really haven't thought this through carefully. Obviously, if we're moving forward with something that is committing us and we're not intending to be committed. But I did have just one other question. I think it's the very first sentence speaks about, Marissa, is that the name of being a beach town and Franklin being a beach, an ocean, near the ocean. I was a little confused about that, talking about confusion. I didn't know we were close to the ocean. So, maybe that's something else that needs to be looked at a little more carefully. Thank you.
There are some sandy places near the canal. Councilman Wright.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have one question for our attorney. Take this back and redo it and come back with your thought on this, or?
Sure. I'm happy to help draft whatever we need to get drafted.
Because Marlboro, you say, has that type
They
of
do.
situation.
They've had it for a number of years.
So, Councilman Prasad.
Yeah, that's fine with me. I mean, this was just, I first brought it up with the mayor, and the mayor said, draft something and send it to me. So I drafted something and I sent it to him. I have no pride of authorship on this whole thing. This was my understanding on it that, the ambassador asked for a letter saying, you want to request a sister city relationship exploration. And so that's what was supposed to be expressed. And if I didn't express it, I apologize for any confusion I may have caused. But that was not the purpose of it. It was just to start the process.
Well, we can still do that.
Okay.
Without this resolution.
So then our instruction to the attorney is to write a letter from mayor and council that would start the process? Start
Exactly.
discussion?
Exactly.
Is that the instructions we're giving?
Right.
Councilman Sherman?
Yeah, Mayor, I remember vividly. That was last year. In fact, we started this process of a sister city in Africa, West Africa. But we didn't go far because we really don't have any legitimate proof or agreement. So this time around, I think it's very, very important that we have it and have a generic one so that some other countries or towns may apply for it too. So I just want to bring that to the notice of the council, that other cities are interested too.
Councilwoman Sherman.
Yes, my thought, I'm sorry, I hope I'm not repeating what Councilman Olnyaka said, but I was distracted for a moment. But my thought would be, wouldn't the admin committee be the first step, have them
Absolutely.
review the agreement and say, this is what we want? And yeah, okay.
Yeah, the point is, there is no
That was my
agreement.
point. It's a policy.
We're not even at the agreement
So
stage.
how can the attorney draft anything? if
No,
there's
it's just
No,
to explore.
well, then, the agreement to explore. That's
No,
the.
there's no agreement.
Then there's no agreement, so why are you even doing a
It's
resolution?
just a request to explore a
So somebody has to
relationship.
make that decision, and perhaps it belongs at the admin committee. It's something to be discussed at the admin committee.
Okay, so.
It was presented incorrectly. His intent was not to do.
Hang on.
Get it.
Let's be recognized. Councilwoman Robinson, go ahead.
For point of clarification, you just wanted to bring it to the table to start exploratory. However, in translation, it became a resolution to start an agreement, which you do not want to start an agreement right now. You
There is
just want
none.
them, so this needs to be taken off the table. Is
So-
that correct? As written, it
As
needs to be
written,
taken off
yes.
the table.
So,
Okay.
so what I would like to do is, Councilwoman Francois have made a motion to table. We could second that, and then we can have a discussion or have another motion to send it to admin. So do we have a motion?
Again, make a motion to table.
Is there a second?
I second it.
So motion to table and a second. There's no further discussion except for when we would be tabling it to. And that can be, we don't have to set a time. It could be after we come back from admin. Is that what you would like? Okay. So the motion is to table until it comes back from admin. Madam Clerk.
Councilman Chase.
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois.
Yes.
Mayor Kramer.
Yes.
Councilman Onijaka.
Yes.
Councilman Prasad.
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wright.
And I guess we don't need another motion because it was a motion to table until then. So
Mr. Mayor,
we're done. Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion
Oh.
that we give our attorney a time to draft it, send it to the admin committee since it wants to go that way, and then come back to the council within a reasonable amount of time Now, if I can suggest 3 months or something of that nature, Mr. Attorney?
That's fine. I think that the thing to do, just my humble opinion, is I can gather information for the admin committee and give it to them.
Thank you.
And then the admin committee can give me some direction, and then I'll
Right.
draft.
That's the
I'll
best
draft.
way to
That
go.
would be, for me, that would be easier.
Yes.
Makes sense.
I could draft from there.
Thank you.
So I don't
So
think we
that's
need to make an emotion.
No.
That was a suggestion. Do we have head nods from council?
Yes.
I just don't want this to get lost in,
Okay, so
the
that,
bureaucratic maze.
Councilman Prasad is on the admin committee. It's not going to get lost.
so, well,
If we have a meeting.
excuse me, we do not know who will be on the admin committee next year.
Okay.
You know, if we talk much longer, we're going to get an email from Bill Connell about this, you know.
If we talk much longer, we're going to have to swear in a new council person to finish the meeting.
Anything but that. I think we are moving on. Press should open all the letters from from Bill Connell. That would be quite entertaining for you. Okay, we are on to old business. We have none. Last item is executive session. Resolution 17488, authorize executive session personnel. Chief of Police is presented to the Township Council for adoption. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on going into executive session? Seeing none, Madam Clerk?
Councilman Chase,
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois,
Yes.
Mayor Kramer,
Yes.
Councilman Onijaka,
Yes.
Councilman Prasad,
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wright.
So now we're going to go into executive session. There may be action when we come out, so I'm going to ask the videographer to put the tape on pause, but to hang around. And we will either be closing the session or we will take an action when we come out. Thank you. To come out of executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor of coming out of executive session, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. We are out of executive session. Would anyone like to make a motion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to make a motion that we move forward with the selection process of a chief of police.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is the discussion on the motion to move forward with this, to move forward with the process of choosing a chief of police? Hearing no discussion, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Chase,
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois,
Yes.
Mayor Kramer,
Yes.
Councilman Onijaka,
Yes.
Councilman Prasad,
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson,
I say move forward the process, but I'm not in agreement with moving process
Yes,
start
yes,
today.
count, you're out of order, yes or no? You cannot make comments.
All right, I'm going to say no.
No.
Councilwoman Sherman,
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wright.
You cannot have discussion now. That is Robert's rules. Yes or no?
No.
So that, my count is 7-2. Or 7 to, I'm sorry, you said no. 7-2. Okay. I think that concludes the business of council. Again, fond farewell, Councilwoman Sherman.
Thank you.
She's not going
and-
anywhere.
That's it.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. We are adjourned. Be well, Councilwoman Sherman.